Time about how I did the dirty with my student. Please TikTok, do not delete this. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. Like I said, I was 6 years older than him, was 17 going on 18. So on my first day as his teacher, he would not stop staring at me. And at the end of the class, he actually handed me his phone number. I was actually shook. Coming from an abusive relationship, my ex would always talk down on me. He would tell me that I was ugly and fat, even though I was actually a fitness model when I met him, and he forced me to leave my career. So when the student gave me his number, I was really flattered. And guess what I did? I went ahead and sent him a text message. Over the next week, we actually ended up just becoming friends. We would text each other every now and then, and I could tell that he was catching feelings really fast. I know you're gonna roll your eyes, but we actually had a lot in common. After the first week, I was actually transferred over to another grade, and that's when he asked me if I wanted to go to the movies with him. When I got to the movie theater, he greeted me with a flower and a kiss on the lips. I was in shock, and we proceeded to make out the entire movie. After that, I invited him to come over to my house, and he said yes. At first, he was shy when we got there. After 10 minutes, he warmed up, and we started kissing again. At this point, I realized that maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Told him to leave, but he said he wouldn't. And he kissed me again. Part 3 is up.
Been married for a year to my wife and I'm still a virgin. I recently found out why. My wife and I got married in February of last year. We had been dating for 4 years prior to getting married. During that time, we hadn't been intimate or anything close to it. We'd kissed, cuddled, and done things like that, but nothing more. She told me she was waiting for marriage, which was fine with me. I was happy with that because I had always known we'd get married. Fast forward to the wedding day, and I was about to explode from excitement. Firstly, I was marrying the woman of my dreams. Secondly, we were finally going to be intimate. The wedding itself was really nice. It was a pretty basic ceremony in a small chapel with only close family, followed by a meal at her parents' house. We then went back to my wife's house, and I was ready for it, tired after a long day. No problem, I thought, what's one more day? The next morning, I woke up, and she had already gone out. I had no idea what time she left, and there was just a note on the fridge saying she was at her parents' house. This detail is important for later. That was almost a year ago. Every time I've tried to discuss the subject, she's either been too tired, upset, not in the mood, or had some variation of these excuses. At one point, she accused me of being obsessed with intimacy because I used to ask about it most days. I've taken her on many romantic date nights, but as soon as intimacy was mentioned, she became put off because she believed it should be spontaneous. So I tried spontaneously engaging, but she accused me of attempting to force her if she didn't give consent beforehand. I was so confused, to say the least. Over the years, I had grown closer to one of her friends, and we went out for coffee one week. After some chit-chatting, she asked how the bedroom life was going. When I confessed that we had never done anything, she was really shocked. I thought, who wouldn't be shocked about a married couple where they were both still virgins? But no, she was shocked because her friend, my wife, had been incredibly promiscuous before she met me. According to the friend, she used to have all sorts of intimate experiences with various people. She estimated at least 14 lovers that she knew about. This left me even more confused. I wondered if I was just undesirable and why she had married me if I wasn't attractive enough for her. A serious conversation with my wife. Fast forward, and I finally sat down with my wife last Sunday after she spent the night at her parents' house the day before. You'll later understand why this matters. At first, she was completely unreceptive, but I asked her to listen and let me talk without interrupting. She agreed. I talked to her calmly, telling her that I wanted to love her in every way possible. I told her that I married her because I loved all of her, and that I wanted to know what was going on with her. I mentioned that I knew about how active she was in the past and wanted to know why those people could be with her wholly, but I couldn't. My talk lasted for almost an hour, and she listened without interrupting. As I talked, she started crying. She didn't sob or break down. Instead, she was quiet, and tears rolled down her cheeks. This honestly made something inside me break, and I began crying too. I rarely cry. After I finished talking, we sat and looked at each other for some time. I could see that she was thinking. She just silently shook her head. At that moment, things nearly fell apart, and I asked if she wanted me to contact a solicitor on Monday to begin divorce proceedings. She fully broke down then. She cried so hard, sobbing, that she ended up as a ball on the floor. I had never seen her like that before. I don't remember doing it, but I ended up on the floor cuddling her while she cried. And then the dang broke. That's when she finally confessed something that broke my heart. Am I the a-hole for laughing at my sister for giving her baby an anime name? My sister is a huge anime fan. She's obsessed with that poop. So, when she got pregnant, it was no surprise that she wanted to give her kid an anime-inspired name. Now, I'm not really into anime. I've seen a few shows here and there, but it's just not my thing. So when my sister told me that she was going to name her son Deku, I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, come on. Deku? That's the dumbest name I've ever heard. It sounds like something you would name a dog, not a human being. And to make matters worse, my sister is dead serious about it. She even went out and bought all this My Hero Academia merchandise for the baby's room. She's going full weed mode, and it's honestly kind of embarrassing. So anyway, fast forward a few months and my sister gives birth to little Deku. And of course, I can't help but laugh every time I see him. I know it's mean, but I just can't help myself. Every time I look at that poor kid, all I can think about is how stupid his name is. It's like his parents set him up for failure right from the start. But here's where things get interesting. A few weeks ago, my sister and her husband had a falling out. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but they're currently going through a pretty messy divorce. And apparently, part of the reason for their split is because my brother-in-law thinks the whole anime thing is ridiculous. He said that my sister is too obsessed with it and that she needs to grow up. Now, normally I would stay out of their business, but this is just too good to pass up. So, I decided to invite my sister over for dinner and subtly bring up the whole Deku situation. I figured that if I could get her to see how ridiculous it is, maybe she would change her mind and give the kid a normal name. Plus, it would give me a chance to finally tell her how dumb I think the whole thing is. So, my sister comes over and we're sitting at the dinner table. I start off by asking her how things are going with the divorce and all that. She starts venting about her soon-to-be ex-husband and how he just doesn't understand her. And that's when I drop the bomb. I say, you know, sis, I've been thinking about something lately. And I think you should really consider changing Deku's name. She looks at me with this confused expression on her face and asks why. So, I explain to her that Deku is a stupid name and that it's going to make his life heck when he gets older. I tell her that kids can be cruel and that they're going to make fun of him for having a name like that. And then I drop the ultimate bombshell. I tell her that even I can't help but laugh at him every time I see him. Her face goes from confusion to anger in a matter of seconds. She starts yelling at me and calling me an a-hole for making fun of her son. I try to defend myself and say that I was just trying to look out for Deku's best interests, but she's not having any of it. She storms out of my apartment and tells me that she never wants to see me again.
One time a kid punched me in the boob and told me that it didn't count because I didn't have any. I even got made fun of in the locker rooms. Oh, Katie, you still wear a training bra? Yeah, and I wore diapers until I was 6. Get over it. I would like to say, though, that all of my old middle school bullies are losers. Screw all of them. I'm an A cup now.